We know we ask a lot from our patron and support network, and we are always so grateful for your generosity. In these challenging times, it's even harder to raise the funding we need to serve our community and achieve our goals. So we're always looking for new ways to maintain our revenues without adding additional burdens to our supporters. Today, we're excited to share a great opportunity that can really help our community and requires no additional out-of-pocket from you. We've partnered with the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers and their Liberty Cares program. Liberty Cares is simple. You already make monthly payments for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, or for your business. For every line of insurance you move to Liberty, they will donate 25% of the commissions they receive on your policies back to our cause. And under this special partnership arrangement, that donation will come to us again and again every year you keep your policy with Liberty. Often, you'll be able to move your insurance into this program simply by signing one form. It's that easy. The Liberty Company is one of the nation's largest insurance brokers, and they've won a number of recognitions for their excellent operations and workplace culture, so you can rest assured that you will be well taken care of. If you would like to learn more about how this new partnership with Liberty can help turn your insurance dollars into much-needed funds for our community, please visit libertycompany.com/libertycares or shoot them an email at libertycares@libertycompany.com. And please be sure to let them know that you're part of our community so that they will credit the benefit of your policies back to our organization. Your ongoing support is much appreciated, so thank you in advance.
Love and light, and welcome to Healing Self-Care. I'm your host, KAMEENA Star, and we are here at the lovely Ed Asner Family Center. This show focuses on self-care for the caregiver, and I am a caregiver. So what I will be doing every week is giving you different tips and strategies to take care of yourself, take better care of yourself, and to make sure that you are getting all the care that you need, not just giving all the love to everybody else. So it's the first show that I've ever had here at the Ed Asner Family Center. And because of that, and because we want you to be a part of our community here at the Ed Asner Family Center, I have decided to claim my first guest in a very, very private way, in which I'm going to be open with you today about how I've been healing through COVID. So today's topic is going to be 5 ways families can begin to heal during COVID. Now, since this is all about families and the self-care for the caregiver, I decided to bring my own family along to give it away. And I want to leave plenty of time to talk to my first guest. Let me introduce her. First of all, she is an advocate. She has autism. She happens to have autism, but she's an autism advocate, and she is a straight A student, and she has just turned 18, so she's a young adult on the autism spectrum, and the rest I will let her say. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my very first guest, my daughter, Keena Pallard.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing out there today?
Wow. Thank you for being here, Keena. Keena did me a solid.
No problem.
Thank you. She did me a solid. I was really stuck today, and I was really nervous getting here. I mean, it's so great that this show starts after wellness, the check-in, because I need to check in real quick. I didn't check in this week, and I've been feeling a little sick and having a hard time getting here.
But she powered through, and we're here.
We're here. I gave my first guest a shout, and I was like, hey, I know who's got my back. My own kid. But, so let me tell you why you're here, Keena. Because when people ask me what I do, it's really hard for me to tell them other than I'm your mom. So no, that's not the real reason. The other reason is that I really wanted the public to care about this show. And I wanted them to care about what I was saying. So the best way for them to care about what I'm saying is for them to see why I care. So I am going to allow you.
That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. See, I'm making sense already, even though I was completely nervous getting here. And so
we're all a little nervous at times,
True. Very true. For the duration of this show, we're going to talk about how nervous I've been during COVID.
Yeah.
right, so let's loosen up a little bit and let's get into our topics for today. And so Keena and I have come up with a very wonderful topic about 5 ways that families can start to heal during COVID. And I asked her a separate question, but since she is my daughter and she lives with me, what I wanted to do was not ask her the answers to the question so that she could tell me live. So you all are hearing what I'm hearing for the first time at the time that we are saying it. And in between that, we'll talk a little bit about Keena's story. So before we start the 5 questions, though, I would like to ask you if you would tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, my name is Keena. Obviously, you guys just heard about that. I have autism. I just turned 18. Woohoo! And it's been a little bit stressful for me to realize that I'm actually 18, and sometimes it just feels like it's just a number and you're just gonna pass it by real quick. But it's been really hard for me to understand that I'm actually 18 now, and that I need to do all these 18-year-old things and kind of just get in that mindset. So basically, I'm here to help everyone else who's 18 or an adult with autism and help them get through that little hump. It's kind of like, I call it a pre-life midlife crisis.
A pre-life midlife crisis. That sounds like something that is a real thing, and I'm going to say it's a real thing. And thank you so much for...
Not yet confirmed.
Not yet confirmed, but thank you so much for Keena for sharing, not just with me, but with everybody. I know that you participate in a lot of research. See, I'm talking to her like I don't even know her. This is a good interview, right? I'm just saying, you've been through a lot of research, but why don't you tell us about some of the toughest things in your life? Just one of the toughest memories that you can remember.
Well, I don't like remembering this, but since I'm here as a guest, I kind of have to, Well, I think one of the hardest memories, and I think I can say this both for me and my mom, but being in residential for so long and not being able to actually understand the other girls because they were a little bit older, and I felt like I had to do certain things.
Let's pause and let's just say residential. So residential, what Keena is talking about is it's an at-home placement, a therapeutic home placement where your child does not live with you. So I have been, Keena and I have been through that since she was 9 years old, and she came home at 16. Now she's 18, so it was a success. We made it a success, but what she's saying is that she didn't necessarily live at home all the time. And she wasn't a foster family placement that we've spoken about before, so she's comfortable talking about it, but she was not a foster child. So there was a lot of things that happened with that made you feel triumphant now, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of the good ones who made it out. Kind of like, some people make it out and then they're like, and they act all crazy, and then they kind of just get back into that slump.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so autism is actually considered an epidemic. It's an epidemic inside of what we now know as a world pandemic of the global coronavirus. This show is about getting us back on track. I know that you're hearing a lot of things about what could be wrong. We're going to talk about what's right. And so I think it's very valuable that we get into today's subject now that we have Keena here, and it is 5 ways families can begin to heal during COVID. Keena, what I'm going to ask you is, why don't you I see you have your notepad out, and I didn't want to
I wrote some things down, the 5 ways that I've been healing. So,
oh my, the 5 ways she's been healing. Listen,
particularly for me, because it doesn't go for everyone. Everyone's different.
That's amazing.
But personally, these are the things that I have done. So you want me to start off?
You are my guest, and I would welcome you to give us your list of 5 things.
So my first thing is that taking time for me, particularly just walking or doing something, to make sure I'm not sitting all day. Or doing something that helps me with my art, like drawing or doing something productive like that.
Wow. Can I just react to that first one and say, this is a new adult. She's a new adult. Okay. So I guess they call it a young adult, and do you consider yourself a caregiver?
Not yet. I feel like I still have some ways to get to that certain standard, I guess, of caregiver.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do. I feel like Keena's a new caregiver. She's a caregiver of herself because previously, before this, her mom took care of her, and she has a lot to figure out on her own. But it seems like you knocked the first one out of the park already because
Thank you.
right because so you said taking time for you and taking a walk or drawing. Most adults way older than you cannot figure out where to even begin. Would you suggest that that's something where we should begin?
Well,
maybe?
walking for some people isn't very easy, or is this something that takes a lot of time to get used to? So what I do is I set a timer for myself just so I can get away from my desk or something. I know a lot of people are a little bit afraid to go outside, so I understand if they just do it around the house. It's not even something you don't have to go outside and do it.
That is a great suggestion, Keena. I really like that. And can you tell us what you have for number 2?
Well, okay. I have a day to recenter myself in my area. So I feel like a lot of the times my area around me is messy, so my whole brain and kind of motivation is messy.
Messy.
And then so that's what I do.
I'm her mom, so I know exactly what the mess she's talking about. I'm trying to make sure that I'm your sure witness. And did you realize that you just admitted that on camera? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that. I know that's something I need to work on. So it's good to admit that I actually did something about it and not just
you put that in your plan. Well, that's perfect. And you put that in your plan for self-care. So a day to recenter and yourself and your surrounding. What do you do for your surrounding areas when
For my surrounding areas, I try to pick up the floor a little bit. When you're feeling like your ground's a mess, it's kind of, it makes you feel like grossed out or like, even though it's your mess, but the other things I've been also doing is just making sure my papers are organized, making sure my week is organized,
making sure your week is organized.
And for myself, self-wise, I make sure I have my outfits together the day before because it helps with taking down a little bit of the stress that goes in the morning.
I mean, it's a brilliant idea. Now, I learned that from my grandmother. And back in the day,
we've been passing it down for generations.
For generations, it is a thing to where we are making sure that we're ready for the next day because she's right. It takes off the extra anxiety of, oh my gosh, I have this special thing to do. What am I going to wear? What am I going to do? But then also we wear fancy clothes sometimes outside. Now, this is just may be my family, but let me tell you what works for us. We sometimes like to dress up, but when we go home, we don't want to get it dirty. So we change our clothes. We put on what we call play clothes.
Yeah, well, mom calls it place clothes. I just call it like lounge clothes.
Right, lounge.
You lounge around and, just kind of give your time to take in what you did today. Sometimes it's a little things that count.
So when you put on your lounge clothes, you can also go ahead and get your other clothes ready for the next day. And right there in that moment, in that same 5 minutes, if you just grab something else and put it out. I mean, this is for people who don't already know what they want to wear in the day that have anxiety surrounding that. That's a good one.
I do it at the same time. I clean up the rest of my area. So first, I clean up the surrounding area so I don't make more mess by getting more clothes out.
Right. We call that net time, no extra time. You can do it in net time. Okay, it's perfect. Let's see what you have for number 3.
Number 3 is for me. I know a lot of people may not have time for this, but watch an enjoyable show. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a whole episode.
Like this one. Ooh.
Yeah. Do you mind?
Okay. She said, do I mind?
Anyways, but yeah, so let's watch like a short, maybe that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more into funny things, and then later on I'll watch something a little bit, a little more for me, like fantasy or something like that. Mm-hmm. Something that, takes a little bit more time to enjoy.
Wow, that's a good idea. So if it takes a little bit more time to enjoy, does that mean that you kind of get that time to think, or what are you doing during that time?
During that time,
or you're healing?
Well, really, it's really about enjoying the show and little aspects about it and kind of just, focusing on the show because it helps you recenter yourself in a way that, maybe some other medias can't. Sometimes, TV can be a little bit stressful. So I understand a lot of people might not have TV.
Or some people, like Matt Asner, might watch the news too much.
Yeah, so
he's sitting here, so he got...
Yeah, instead of watching the news, maybe listen to a podcast about something a little bit educational.
Yeah, and so what's the podcast that we really like?
Oh, well,
I listened to one together. So we
listened to Butch Hartman's Speech Bubble.
Sure did. Speech Bubble, that was a good one.
We talked, and they had it was about Mark Summer. I've been listening.
The show host, Mark Summer from Double Dare. And
yes.
all of that.
He was talking about how he got into that type of show work and his other experiences as well.
She was getting me ready for my interview. This child is so sweet. I'm telling you, we have been through the world's most stuff, but she is.
You always got to leave
so
that special
sweet.
thing.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that you all saw her. If you are just joining our show, this is Healing Self-Care, and I'm your host, KAMEENA Star. My first guest is none other than my daughter, Keena Pallard. She has autism and ADHD. She is a young adult advocate on the autism spectrum who's coming to help us today figure out 5 ways families can start to heal during COVID. And she's already at number 4.
I'm at number 3.
But number 3.
It seems like number 4.
There's a question.
Oh, there's a question. I've just been told by the producer, okay, we have a question. And the question is far away because I can't see it. Listen, y'all about to see the weirdest thing ever. Look who it's from. First of all, let's say hi and welcome Christina.
Hi, guys.
Christina.
Hi, Grammy. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone here. We're going to go ahead and get into this question. That's genius. When your space is a mess, you feel messy in your brain.
No. It's Gregory.
Okay. That's
Hello,
a great
Gregory.
idea. Hey, Gregory.
My favorite podcast is, he asked me my favorite podcast. I have a couple, depending on what it is that I'm wanting to listen to. Sometimes you want something where it's a little bit funnier, and you want something that maybe makes you think about another thing.
True.
One of the things I've been listening to is Speech Bubble by Butch Hartman. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just learning more about voice acting. Is they don't get a lot of credit behind the scenes. You know, they're kind of our favorite cartoons, or maybe other things like that.
Right. What was the one that we watched with the Disney one? It's super good. The podcast.
Oh, I remember. I think it was management.
Management.
Disney
yes.
Management.
Disney Management podcast.
Yes, and it's can't remember. I haven't listened to it for so long.
The good thing about that podcast is that it's something. First of all, it's a family thing that we can do together,
and it helps with teamwork and managing a team. And sometimes you need help. Some business advice. And it helps it really well.
Teach. I feel like it helps teach, instill morals and values into people. So basically, they tell you about why they hire, how they hire, and if they would hire that person and everything. And so those are a couple good podcasts.
It's good for them to go through their experiences because it helps me with my experiences. It goes hand to hand.
Keena, that is genius.
Yeah.
Christina was right. That is genius. And I want you to get into, before we get into another question, why don't you go into number 4? We want her to say.
Number 4, I retell all the things I did good today to myself to make sure I'm focusing on the things I did do and not the things I didn't do. That's what I do.
That is bravo.
It's all about focusing on the little things.
Focus on the little things and the things that you can do.
The things that you did do today. It's not about the things you can do or the things you did yesterday, and kind of just refocusing on what's happening now.
I think that sounds perfect. I think not only does that sound perfect, but focusing on what you do have is a form of gratitude. And gratitude, I know when you hear about self-care, you hear all the time, gratitude list. But what she's saying is she's focusing on what she has for that day so that she's.
No, I'm focusing on the things I did get done.
She did get done today. Yeah. She's focusing on what she got done that day. So she's showing her own amount of gratitude. And I'm sure that's very self-healing for her.
Yeah. Because I worry too much about what did I didn't do.
Right. You don't worry too much about what you didn't do. Is what she's saying. Worry about what you did get done. No, consider what you did get done and for that day and be happy about that. Right? Is that what you're saying? Okay, perfect. We have one more, and then we're going to take some comments.
For me, I know a lot of people have a lot of Zoom meetings now, and it's kind of hard to, be on time or things like that. So for me personally, I give myself a pat on the back every time I'm 5 minutes early. Or I'm earlier than other people. Yeah. I give myself a pat on the back for just being on time. Being on time and being orderly.
I think that's also a great idea. Just being on time and being orderly is something that never stopped in our lives, right? This is just because we're in the house or we're working from home doesn't mean that we shouldn't be on time and orderly and clean and awake. So I think that's really great. You can take
it's very good to have a visual stigma. It's very good to be.
You mean a visual stimulus?
Yeah, like be very proud about how you look and kind of have all that together.
And you look very pretty.
Thank you. You too. Good looking.
Thank you. I think we did a great job. I think these people are really buying it. What do you think?
Yeah, we're reeling them in like fish on a bait.
Reeling them in. We're trying to get them to take care of themselves, and that's a really great thing that we're doing. Was that your number 4 or was your number 5?
That was my number 5, actually. Okay. And Mom, how about you? What's your some of yours?
I think that we are going to have a whole separate show about the things that I do, but it's a good thing that this comes on. Let me let them know. This show comes on every Tuesday, 3:30 to 4, and we're at the Ed Asner Family Center. So afterwards, we have an opportunity for a healing clinic that I'm going to be providing some healing for some people, some card readings. I'm going to do energy readings. And so what you want to do is look for me on Square, on the Square app, at KAMEENA Star, on Instagram and Facebook. You can also DM me to make an appointment. But most of all, come on into the center and be a part of our community and our family here. And before we leave, I want to once again thank my guest, Keena Pallard, who is my daughter and an autism advocate, for helping us figure out 5 ways that families can start to begin to heal during COVID. Before we leave, we have a few more minutes. And so I thought what might be good is to kind of take down, since we finished our 5, and just read some of the comments and thank some of the people there. Since I have my wonderful, lovely guest here, why don't we see what they're saying in the next?
I think somebody has a comment.
You think so? Okay, so let's see. After Gregory, it was Kalila, and she said, thank you. Hi, Kalila. Let's wave.
Hello, how are you doing?
How are you? Thank you, Kameena and Keena. My takeaway from today's show is we can't see that. That's far away. Okay, Kalila.
Yeah, Kalila's
Oh
there.
my gosh,
she was listing her 5 things. Thank you for listing yours. I'm gonna read number 3. Tidying up your personal space. Yes, that's great. That's her takeaways from the show. Walking. It's her takeaways. Set timers. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. That's a very effective thing to do. We actually have our time timer here for everybody. Yeah, so it's kind of out of frame, you know.
Yes. Okay, so who else is up here that we want to say hi to? We want to say hi to let's look at Harris, Drake, Kalila Dawkins. Hi, Chris. And let's see if we can scroll back up and say thank you. Well, first of all, we're looking at the screen.
Thank you for everyone who came over and watched us today. How about if you have somebody you know who has autism and who's an adult, ask them to watch the podcast. I might be here more often.
Oh, did you see that?
Might.
Did you hear that? She might be. If you guys want her to come more often and answer some questions, she is an adult caregiver with autism who can also answer our questions. We love that you're here, and we love that you're here to with us. But check this kid out. Kid, look at her go, huh?
She's I'm not a kid no more. I'm a lady. Right. A young lady.
A young adult lady who has done a great job to help me with today's show. I want to thank you all for also basically standing by us in this community. What we want to do from this show is to build a community outwards to where we're all able to get back together. I'm trying to save hugs. You know, hugs. We should hug. People should see us hug. This is heart to heart. We're going to hug. Thank you for being on the show today, Keena. I wanted to make sure that people saw hugs because we're saving hugs and we're bringing them back. And we're bringing back the family and the family care. If you are...
Gregory, you're great. You said she needs her own segment. I think that's totally true.
She's still... Wow! You think she needs her own segment. And
he also said I need to ask for more money. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting paid for this, but, I'm her daughter. I guess I get paid and,
Gregory Harris. We have to have words with him later. Get off the thing. And don't agree, Christina Brickhouse Harris, where you all are in cahoots together about paying this girl more money, or y'all are just taking over. Michelle Ramirez. Hi, Michelle. I think you
Hello
have a
there.
few people that want to say hi to you. Save hugs. Yes, we are doing our best to save hugs here. Families need to save hugs. We need to hug each other more.
Yeah.
People, when we come out of this,
I don't think elbows is helping anyone. It's a dangerous thing. Elbows are really pointy. Like you're basically just like putting up a dangerous weapon to hit somebody with. And it's just like, okay. Maybe like a kind of like, I do this thing where it's like a space high five. So everything goes slower in space.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Let's go.
Did
we make it? Did we
and then
do
it
it?
goes over to you, and then you go.
And not. Oh, so
Yeah.
I don't get to actually touch.
No, it's a space high
It's
five.
a Star Wars high five.
Yeah, it's a space high five. Everything goes slower in space.
Got it. So we'll be high fiving like 10 minutes from now.
Space high five, Mom.
You know what?
Get together, people. This is why I need my own show.
Oh my gosh, she went from my show to being a guest on her own show. Listen, if this is
How do you
what
know
your
that you're
future
not
is,
my guest?
how do I know I'm not her guest? Well, I am your guest because you've completely taken it over. But we're going to actually leave now. So I'm going to say a few things to the people and we're going to get them to go. In the meantime, do you want to say goodbye? Any final words from Keena?
Make sure to take care of yourself. Thank you for watching. I'm Keena.
Okay. Thank you, Keena, for being my very first guest. This is Healing Self-Care with KAMEENA Star at the Ed Asner Family Center. And we thank you for joining us. We would like for you to continue to take great care of yourself, to be a light of hope for everyone in this dark world. And we want you to shine on.
One of the things I'm most proud of is our mental health department, where we provide low-cost counseling to special needs individuals and their families. During times like this is something that everyone can use.